The Prime Minister has made his first public comments on the electoral bonds controversy, in fact, doubling down on them as a good idea. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo story. On the big political face off today, we'll be looking at the major headlines that have emerged from the Prime Minister's first comments, not just on electoral bonds, but also on the Enforcement Directorate action against opposition leaders. Also, a new issue has entered the elections, the island of Kachativu. That is now part of the electoral battlefield. We'll find out why in a moment from now. The Prime Minister's comments on electoral bonds comes even as Rahul Gandhi at an India bloc rally held in solidarity with two arrested opposition leaders, Arvind Kejriwal and Hemant Soren, spoke about match fixing as he likened elections to the IPL and spoke about two players who had been unfairly benched. He was, of course, referring to Mr. Kejriwal and Mr. Hemant Soren. Jaishankar, as I mentioned, has been bringing up the issue of Kachativu in the elections as the Prime Minister takes a strong position, doubling down in defense of electoral bonds and also on the Enforcement Directorate, saying that only 3% of the cases of the ED are in fact against opposition politicians or any politicians. I should correct myself. They're saying that the ED does not discriminate in how it acts with one party or the other, but only 3% of its 7,000 cases, as the Prime Minister in an interview to Thanthi TV, are about politicians at all. On the big political face-off today, let's introduce our guests on the program today. We have two very important voices from the Congress and the BJP. Let me introduce Salman on the program. He's a senior leader of the Congress and a prominent spokesperson. Welcome to the program, Salman. And also joining us is senior leader of the BJP, Gopal Krishna Agarwal. Welcome both of you to the program. I want to actually start with opening comments from both of you. We have the Prime Minister in the Thanthi TV interview doubling down on electoral bonds. We have a brand new issue of an island, which is now with Sri Lanka entering the electoral battlefield. And we have the opposition converging together in solidarity with both Arvind Kejriwal and Hemant Soren. I'll start with you, Gopalji. The Prime Minister talking to Thanthi TV defended electoral bonds. In fact, he said specifically in Hindi, and I'm roughly translating, those dancing over bonds will repent it. If there are certain issues, they can be fixed. But if these bonds had not in fact existed today, nobody would know who had paid how much money to what. It made me wonder that if the BJP comes back to power, could there be another move to bring in bonds through the parliament route, maybe with changes or amendments this time? What did you make of the Prime Minister's comments on electoral bonds, Gopal Krishna Agarwal?
I think what the government will do when we come back to power, that I cannot speculate. It is for the Prime Minister and the government to decide, and it is not the right time for that decision, or I don't think any thinking on that has formalized at present. But what Prime Minister say, I very much like to clarify, because I'm also a chartered accountant. I know the how income tax etc. work, and how I was on the board of bank also, and I'm associated with the financial market. What we Prime Minister has clearly said that before this electoral bonds came into existence, there was complete liquid cash money which was being used in the elections. He very clearly said that, do you think the limit which was set by the election commission for spending in the elections was being adhered before that, and there was no cash money involved into the election transactions? Nobody will say that this is correct statement. So there was a lot of cash which was being used in the election. What the electoral bond did is that the person who buys the electoral bond, he will have to pay, and for buying this bond he will have to pay from his taxable income, from his money from the company, corporate sector, or anybody, through his bank accounts, and there will be a clear cut audit trail that who has bought these bonds. And the second part is, whichever political party gets these bearer bonds, they will deposit this bond in the bank account, their account in the bank through with the bank, and there will be clear cut audit trail for the political parties, that whatever money they get is legal money, or whatever money they get, there is a complete transparency in that. Now what was the gap in between was who, which corporate sector or individual paid to which party. This is not in the public domain. This was known to some particular agency which was working, in this case SBI, which is an institution, a reputed institution, a individual institution, banking institution, which was keeping all the records. So, and for that, what he has also has been said, when I was working with Jaitley, that time also he had given statement that many of the corporates were reluctant to pay to the opposition parties, because of the fear of the ruling party. So at any point of time, we are not justifying that electoral bond is the ultimate answer to all the evils of money getting into the electoral process, but it was a move forward where audit trail of purchase and audit trail of expenditure from for the elections was clear cut established. And second thing is, the cash component of expenditure and collection in the election process was curtailed to a
I,
very
I I understand what you're saying, and the Prime Minister went on to, in that interview to Thanthi TV, say that if there are certain issues, it can be fixed. It made me feel, and that's the one part of the question you didn't answer, that perhaps electoral bonds could come back. Right now, I'm not getting into the debate of whether they're good,
No,
bad,
what we
ugly,
said
indifferent.
also, that what are the issues which the Supreme Court has raised? We agree to that. That Court has raised certain valid reasons why audit trail is not being established. Then is the data could have, no, instead of SBI having the data, Election Commission can have. There can be many things, but that is not. We have to move forward, and this was one step which we move forward. And you have to look into the other aspect also, that earlier any cash donation up to 20,000, the political party did not have to give any information. In this, we reduced the cash donation to 2,000 rupees. The third important issue along with this was that every political party was given a deadline, that you have to file your income tax return and all that information above
Okay, let me
20,000 within the time frame. If you don't give, you will lose the
let
exemption. So these are all the steps together, we have to look into it.
let me bring in Salman Soz, because we have to discuss a whole lot of things other than just electoral bonds. So let me just bring in one comment from Mr. Soz on electoral bonds to what Mr. Agarwal has said. Go ahead, Salman. Sorry, Salman, I can't hear you. Can you unmute yourself at your end if you muted at your
Yeah,
end?
yeah. So I was saying, Barkha,
Yeah.
that it is laughable what the Prime Minister has said, that it is because of the electoral bond that now we know who the donor is and who the recipient of the money is. In fact, it was the Prime Minister and his Finance Minister, the late Arun Jaitley, who promised that donors need not fear their information will be kept secret. Nobody would be able to identify them. It was by design. It was by design that they wanted to hide this information from the public. And we know now why. Because it is clear as night and day that basically the overarching model was chanda do, danda do. If you do not do what we say, we will do hafta vasuli. Those are the kinds of things, and people have understood it. And you know, this electoral bonds issue, Barkha, it's incredible how swiftly it has gone through the public's imagination. People are now, they fully understand that all this talk of hum corruption ke khilaf hai, na khaunga, na khane dunga, all this stuff, people know this Jumla Bazi has been like, this has been since 2014. That's all we've been hearing about. And what is happening with the BJP now? The people that they used to call corrupt, Maha corrupt, thieves upon thieves, they're all now in BJP getting laundered, just like the money that they've been laundering through electoral bonds. Now,
But
they are, and by the way, for the Prime Minister to say Now you can see who's given us money, but you are the one who actually were hiding all this information. Thousands upon thousands of crores. By the way, if the prime minister is really an honest person, if he truly believes that he is about politics and he's Vikas Purush and all this stuff, why does he not bow down before the Supreme Court's judgment, which basically said that electoral bonds are unconstitutional and illegal? The Prime Minister should say that all the money received through electoral bonds will be returned.
Is the Congress willing to do the same?
The Prime
you have
Minister
also received money.
Barkha, I will tell you. The Prime Minister should make the move, and I'm sure all political parties will say yes. Let's do it. Will the BJP do it? I don't think so. Why? Because this is how they build their dominance in some ways. But you know what? It's okay. This money is not going to take them anywhere. All this 400 par, all of this will be burst on June 4th. They're not crossing 200 right now, I can tell you, Barkha.
Okay, that's a big claim, and I will come to the politics. I'll just let Gopalji respond to what you've said briefly. And there's an important question there. While I do believe, and Salman and I have disagreed on this, that no party can claim moral superiority on the principle of political financing. Everybody has taken bonds except the communists. How can the Prime Minister or the government argue today that it's because of these bonds that today you know who gave how much to whom? Agar pehle cash hota, you would never have known. Pehle cash hota, you would never have known is correct, but the bonds were built on the principle of anonymity. In fact, the former Finance Secretary Subhash Garg told me that the SBI was not even meant to be recording these alphanumerics that they have recorded, and it's up to you to decide whether the SBI has been broken the law or has been a whistleblower. In other words, ये जो transparency आज bonds को credit की जा रही है, this was not meant to be there, Gopalji. So it's a contradiction. How do you respond?
No, it's not a contradiction, Barkhaji. We have to understand that the money involved in the election process, there are several issues which still we have to attain. Still, we cannot claim that all the black money or the money muscle power, even the Election Commission has been continuously saying that the triple 3M money muscle and manipulations are there in the election process. We have to move ahead in the step-by-step direction. I said that BJP wants that the money power in the election should come down. At that point of time, people at that time had thought that, so if the election commission has stuck down, we are agreeing to it. But if the debate is there, why it was brought, that was even the issue about the bringing down the black money. This was the only purpose at that point of time, where I study what Arun Jaitley ji had been telling in the parliament and that point of time, that we want to bring down the cash involvement of cash component in the electoral process, and we want the white money or the legalized money or the transparent money into the legal the election process. And this was the purpose. If the Supreme Court has not agreed, we are not just, therefore I said we are not going to bring down the bond. Nobody has said that. If the Supreme Court thinks, it is the Election Commission which will finally think what are the other means. But you have to also understand that 20,000 has been reduced to 2,000. Transparency has come through the filing of the returns. Many things have been, other reforms have been taken. So it is ultimately the Election Commission which can take the final call. Government can only talk on whatever decisions are thinking, but finally the Election Commission which takes the...
Okay, I want to move on. I wish we could have done a whole program on electoral bonds, but the Prime Minister made a number of comments in that interview, and the opposition has also been making a number of comments at its opposition rally in solidarity with Arvind Kejriwal and Hemant Soren. Now, Rahul Gandhi contentiously, the BJP would certainly argue, and we'll find out what Salman will say in a moment. Rahul Gandhi likened this election to the IPL season, and then he invoked match fixing, implying that these elections in some ways have been fixed. Take a look, and we'll come back to look at the politics of both the opposition rally and how the government responds to ED action. The Prime Minister has spoken about that as well. But first, Rahul Gandhi.
आजकल आईपीएल के मैच चल रहे हैं, देखते हो आप लोग। मैच फिक्सिंग शब्द सुना है आपने? सुना है? जब बेईमानी से एम्पायर पर दबाव डालकर प्लेयर को खरीदकर कैप्टन को डराकर मैच जीता जाता है। क्रिकेट में उसको मैच फिक्सिंग कहा जाता है। हमारे सामने लोकसभा का चुनाव है। अंपायर किसने चुने? नरेंद्र मोदी ने।
Salman, Soz, you just said that the BJP would not even, in your estimation, cross 200, that the decisions they're taking, the comments they're making betray anxiety. You even said that on social media. But when Mr. Gandhi speaks about a match being fixed, the umpires being manipulated, two players having been benched, he's referring, of course, to Mr. Kejriwal and Mr. Hemant Soren. He doesn't sound like he believes that the opposition is going to do well. We'll get into his allegations of fixing in a moment, but he doesn't sound like he believes this match can be won by you.
No. He's basically saying that he's making sure that the people understand that there is this whole process that the BJP has unleashed in the country, which is about fixing this election. But that doesn't mean that we're just giving up and they can do what they want. Because even when you try to fix a match, you can do as much as you want, but there will be bowlers, there will be batsmen, and we will still win.
How is the election fixed? How is the election fixed?
Let me just, first of all, if you look at, there's so many different ways. Of course, they fixed it first through electoral bonds because they got all these thousands of crores. Even from companies that were losing money, they were paying them. They fixed it through ED, CBI, income tax rates. Then they started giving contracts to companies that have given them money, ask them why they did that. So that is the money part of it. Media, they've already fixed for the most part. Vast sections of media are totally finished. Forget that. When it came to the election commission, the appointment of election commissioners, despite the Supreme Court's guidance on what the Supreme Court thought was a fair way of selecting election commissioners, what did the government do? They came up with a new act basically saying that, the prime minister, basically the government will choose, right? Because they have a minister and the prime minister and one opposition person.
But even before the Supreme Court's intervention, there was no system to actually choose the election commissioners. That's Supreme Court intervened.
Barkha, every society makes progress. Every society, that's evolution. The point is that the Supreme Court said that this is not a good way, and provided guidance on what would be a good way. Is it a good way for the government? It's like saying we'll go and contest against Pakistan, we'll have a cricket match against Pakistan, but the umpires are going to be chosen by the Pakistanis. That is the old way. That is the old way. No longer.
Okay. But that was the way when your party was in government. You didn't seek to change that.
Yes, Barkha, I'm sorry. Our party was in government for so many years. So are you saying that whatever happened in the past, we should continue to that now?
I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about the one election commission point that you cited. That's all.
No, the election commission point is simple. The Supreme Court has given you guidance. You have now deliberately, just before the election, come up with election commissioners who are basically chosen by you. So you cannot say that this is, elections should not only be free and fair, they should be seen to be, there should be perception that they're free and fair. But in the eyes of the Indian public, these elections are neither free nor fair. However, that does not mean we're going to give up. That just tells you that despite all odds, look at what they've done to the Chief Minister of Delhi. Look at what they did to the former Chief Minister of Jharkhand. Look at what they're doing to opposition. This whole idea that only 3% of the cases, ED cases, are against opposition, but not telling people that 95% of cases against politicians are against opposition politicians since 2014. Because the Prime Minister is trying to selectively lie to the Indian public. But despite all this, Barkha, I can tell you, Barkha, I'm from Jammu and Kashmir, you know that. Just a few months back, it was a foregone, everybody was saying BJP is going to win Jammu, Udhampur, no question asked. Go ask them what has happened to Jammu. In Udhampur, they're losing the seat. In Jammu, the fight is tough now. What happened to them? Jammu is supposed to be a bastion.
Okay, Salman, hold on, because there is a contradiction there which I'll come back to. You can't both say that the public is aware, the public is angry, but elections fixed. Hai? Just hold on for a moment.
The
Let
process
Gopalji
is fixed. We're fighting. The public is fighting because this is not an election. This is not an election between BJP and the opposition. This is an election between the BJP and the people of India. And guess who's going to win?
Okay, Gopalji, please do come in there. Number of different points. One on how the government, went circumvented what the Supreme Court wanted when it came to how election commissioners are chosen. I've already made the point that before the Supreme Court verdict, there was actually no system to choose the election commissioners. But the ED allegation is a much more serious one. You have two chief ministers, one who resigned, Hemant Soren, and the other who's a sitting chief minister, at least for now. Mr. Kejriwal has been taken to Tihar jail today. In fact, you have their wives, Sunita and Kavita, I think it is, who have come together to now embrace Kalpana. I'm being told, I'm being corrected, that it's Kalpana, who are coming together there to now embrace not even each other but also public life. Prime Minister in his Thanthi TV interview made the point that only 3% of 7,000 cases of ED are against politicians. But the fact is that the majority of this 3% are against the opposition politicians. How do you react to this charge that you've just heard Salman Soz make?
Barkha ji, we have to understand two, three things. The contradictory which the opposition want to take high moral ground and what is going on the ground. One thing is, Rahul Gandhi is saying there is a match fixing, and then Salman Soz is saying only 200 seats. So is BJP match fixing for opposition to win this election?
Okay,
second thing, the second thing is that is Congress won the Telangana election because of match fixing? The Congress, we see how we lost Karnataka. We put all our effort to win Karnataka, but we lost it. So that was Congress won by match fixing. Earlier they have been. So these are so many contradictory. So all the institutions which were built since 1947, we respect those institutions. India is a great democracy, and Congress ruled for almost 60 years. Till that time, everything was good. Even though they have done 1975 is a blot on the country's democracy, still they are a clean sheet with white sheet and everything. And BJP, after 10 years, everything, all these institutions are bad. We have become banana republic. Democracy is not there. So these are so many. And now tell me, is Arvind Kejriwal? They are sitting on the stage with Arvind Kejriwal. And how Sunita Kejriwal is becoming, they want to, or how, what status they have. If the chief minister, when he is in jail, he is still running. What is the constitution? This is mockery of constitution. The people in electoral democracy, people's will is supreme. If 78% of the country people expect, they have an affinity for the prime minister, still Congress doesn't accept him as their prime minister. So what is this? मैं जो कर रहा हूं वो सब ठीक है. अपोजिशन के साथ जो भी गवर्नमेंट के जो भी कर रही है, चाहे ईडी खराब है, इलेक्शन कमीशन खराब है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट खराब है, एजेंसीज खराब है, तो व्हाट इज दिस? इज दिस द वे you run the country? If you don't believe in the institutions in the country, then who will run the country? How they want to run the country? क्या banana republic बनाना है? क्या करना है? मतलब these are all laughable comments they give at one point of time, talking like these institutions are not built by BJP. These institutions, we have a constitution, we have the institutions, judiciary, jisko globally we are respected. We are respected because of our judiciary is very strong. We are accepting, but Congress is not accepting any decision you see. Wherever the Supreme Court has given a decision in favor of BJP or which BJP supports, they will say that it is a fixed decision. जहाँ पे opposition का है, oh, that is very good. We have a very strong judiciary. Election Commission में so many times VVPAT के ऊपर there are so many PLI, everything they have tried. Even you see Rafael, everything. What is this? And if
Okay.
how many you just don't go for data, ED has recovered how much money the prime. You yourself showed that in the last ED had recovered only 10 lakh rupees, and in last 10 years we have been able to recover 2,200 crores. There is cash from the MPs recovered from the Congress, 350 crore cash recovered. So we have planted this. So what is this? No, you have first thing, if you don't believe in Indian institutions, you have no right to be accepting. आप इलेक्शन प्रोसेस नहीं चाहते, फिर क्या चाहते हैं कि
Okay.
हम जो करेंगे वही चलेगा? मतलब
नहीं
ये क्या?
आप
यू आर राइट. आपको इनकम टैक्स नोटिस के बारे में बहुत क्लियर कट बता दें. दे हैव टेकन कैश डोनेशंस ऑफ 14.5 lakh, and because of that they have lost under section 13(1) of the Income Tax Act and Election Commission Act, that they have lost the exemption from taxation.
can I ask you a question on that last point, and then can I ask you a question, Gopal ji, on that last point? They allege.
No, they are alleging because of
They are
14.5.
alleging 14 lakhs उनकी non-compliance in 42 crores BJP की है.
हाँ, that's what I was telling.
आपकी non-compliance पे action नहीं लिया, उनकी
नहीं, यही तो मैं
non-compliance
बता रहा हूँ बरखा जी, मैं बता रहा हूँ. This 14.5 lakhs is cash donation above 2,000. Because of that, they lost the exemption under the income tax. And this 42 crores is above 20,000 rupees donations, where election commission, this income tax department asked for us information, gave notice, we submitted it. Income tax department, no, listen, final. Income tax office gave so many notices to them to give the information, file the return. They did not comply. We have complied. So how, and this linking 42 crore with 14.5 lakh is completely false narration they are building.
Okay, I want to say, I want
the people.
Okay, Salman Soz will respond, but I do want to come in with the caveat that while the Congress has alleged that the BJP government is throttling them financially, the Solicitor General did inform.
Now today we have said that no, it will not.
मैं वही बोल रही हूँ कि while the Congress has alleged this, the Solicitor General Tushar Mehta informed the Supreme Court that there will be no coercive action by the income tax till the elections are over.
So now there is a level playing field.
Salman, is there a US?
Basically, भाई साहब आपने तो बहुत बोल लिया, अब थोड़ा रेस्ट कर लीजिए.
अरे टाइम देखेंगे ना सलमान साहब, आपने ज्यादा बोला है, मैंने ज्यादा आपको सुना है.
ये तो that can be empirically proven.
Let's not waste the few minutes we have left. Salman, please go ahead.
The point is that the BJP has no interest in leveling in leveling this playing field. What they want is they want to level the opposition. Then they want a playing field for themselves. That is what they've been trying. By the way, don't think that Tushar Mehta did some great thing today and he was being benevolent to the opposition. Dekho, humne to aapko karne diya, there'll be no coercive action. They knew that the Supreme Court might give them the same fatkar that they got earlier for the electoral bonds. Because even the Supreme Court, you have to be blind not to see that the main opposition party in the in India, the world's largest democracy, has its accounts frozen just weeks before the elections. What is this? What democracy is this? What mother of democracy are you talking about? It's shameful. The reputational damage that India has suffered because of this cabal that has taken root in India, and that is the cabal we want to throw out of this country. You cannot say that. By the way, the Solicitor General is today he went to the Supreme Court. Look how Modi ji is so nice. He's letting the opposition.
But can I ask you briefly, because we have just 2 minutes left of the program, Salman, Gopal Krishna Agarwal did raise one important point, that when the Supreme Court leans towards intervening on a principle you agree with, let's say electoral bonds or some other principle, you say Supreme Court ki jai ho. When it doesn't go your way, you doubt the institutions. And if you doubt institutions, it's going to be a banana republic in his words. Is there a confirmation bias that you're seeking at all times? Quickly, because I do want to ask both of you about Kacha Tibu as well, and I want to keep 2 minutes for that. Go ahead, Salman.
This may seem like a very easy thing for the BJP to level charges against us as far as this is concerned. But the fact of the matter is that the BJP has all levers of power, including coercion, by the way, against the judiciary. Just a few days back, they orchestrated this letter from lawyers. By the way, when the electoral bonds judgment came out, the Supreme Court Bar Association president, who's a known supporter of the BJP, wrote to the president and said, you've got to withhold this judgment. And then he joined these other 599 people to write to the Supreme Court the Chief Justice and saying that the judiciary is being...
he also said... By the way, it might interest you to know that the same Supreme Court Bar president said on my program that he didn't think Arvind Kejriwal should be arrested. The reason I'm citing that is people are labeled one way or the other when they don't agree with you in this allegation.
Just on that, the Supreme Court Bar Association president...
Kejriwal was arrested. He was given several...
No, this is not fair. You cannot control this.
Okay, guys. Gentlemen, we have... Salman ji, please, 30 seconds.
I'm just saying that did they orchestrate that letter? Did the president of the Supreme Court Bar Association first write to the president of India, then complain to the Chief Justice about pressure on the Supreme Court, and then did the Prime Minister of this country in a very unseemly way
Okay, let me respond now. Salman, just because of the limitations of time, Gopalji, 30 seconds, and then I want concluding remarks from both of you on the Kacha Tibu entry into the electoral battlefield. But Gopalji, please go ahead.
नहीं, बरखा जी इतना टाइम नहीं है.
अच्छा, चलिए इसी पे end करते हैं.
I will just tell you one point. Arvind Kejriwal did not respond to 9 ED notices. If he had responded, he would not have been arrested. Others have not been arrested because they respond. So the thing is, Arvind Kejriwal was playing a different politics. That's let's close it. What you want, another issue? Because
okay, just quick response on the entry of a 1970s Kacha Tibu island issue. We have seen it entering, but we can do a separate program on it. I don't want to do it in a hurry. It's too complex a subject. So I'll say thank you to both of you and maybe try a separate program on it tomorrow. Thank you to Gopal, Krishna, Agarwal and to Salman Soz. We've looked at some of those big issues, both from the Prime Minister's interview to Thanthi TV and the opposition's rally. A third issue is specific to Tamil Nadu and national security, charges flying fast and furious. We'll have a separate program on that. But for now, thank you very much, Mr. Gopal, Krishna, Agarwal and Salman Soz, and to our audience. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow. Mojo Story has always made a commitment to its viewers to go to where the story is. And as you can see here, we are at the epicenter of the Israel war on Gaza. We are right at the front line, about 1 mile from the Gaza Strip, as the Israeli military gets ready with its tanks and its gunners to begin its final frontal assault that will take troops into Gaza. As we said, we are not like other organizations. We believe in giving you all sides of the story objectively and as much as possible from the ground. And that's exactly what we're doing here, covering the biggest global story today from the epicenter of the war zone. So please, we need your support. Support us, become a Mojo member, subscribe to us, spread the word, and thank you for your support.